Welcome to the Back Nine Six Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. Not the result we wanted Wednesday.
No.
But maybe the one you needed.
Okay, I guess we should start here because last Monday we were recording. I said, hey, I probably need a 74, 75. I shot 76. I grinded it out on Tuesday, but it ended up being, I could have shot higher than that. It got windy and I wasn't hitting the ball well. This course, they cut down a lot of trees, so the wind just kind of, so I grinded it. When I say I grinded it out, I got up and down 4 of the last 5 holes to make the cut. I was out there grinding out 4 and 5 foot par putts, and I got the Wednesday. And maybe physically I didn't feel tired, but watching some of the video that came out, that was a tired man golf swing right there. And shout out to Nick who videotaped me. I saw some things. I'm like, wow, my setup was just not good. My ball position was not good. And, but it was a tough day. I just kept handing holes with bogeys and couldn't keep the ball in play off the tee. And, an old style country club like that, everybody knows the trees sit high, but how the greens sit, it's not exactly easy to just hit something low and run it up. It's just not. And, we got behind real early. We actually showed a little bit of grit there in the middle, and then it's kind of the 3 putt on 9. They had tee shot on 10, and it was just kind of over from there. And then the infamous video of me hitting it in the bunker on 12. And what was not shown on the video was I said, get me off this fucking golf course, because I was pretty much done at that point. But shout out to Scott, our boy Scott. He caddied for me on Wednesday, and I bought him drinks at the turn because I felt so bad about how I was playing. And then Brian, our boy Brian Whitmer was out there too to witness me lose on the 13th hole. So, but kudos to the guy who played, Isaac Moody, 18-year-old. He's going to Northern Kentucky University next year. Really cool kid. Dad was awesome. Your dad was just I think it's kind of cool that you're 33 years old and you're out here and you have kids and, you're still trying to compete. So I told him, I was I don't know if I could ever go with the competing side of golf. Even though I got killed, even sitting at lunch, I'm like, what do I need to do next year to win a match? What do I need to get better at? Yeah. Things like that. And I think the more tournaments I play in, the better I'll get in tournaments. So,
yeah, and on the bright side, we had a comment on the social post, at least you didn't get Stephen Amesed, so good news there.
I didn't, and I'll tell you, I got down 4 through 5 holes, and that was the first thing that was kind of going through my head. I'm like, we gotta scratch out a win, we gotta scratch out some ties. We can't have this thing end on hole 10.
No.
Just can't have it. We can't let it happen. But I did get 3 Miller Lights at the turn, and although it didn't lead to me winning any more holes, I did pull it together and got some ties and at least drug it on for another couple holes. So,
yeah, well, like I said, proud of you. That's awesome. Anytime you get to match play, I think it's a huge accomplishment.
I was I didn't play in it for 7 years, but it was a 10-year. I looked back. It's been 10 years since I had made match play.
Yeah.
0-4 now in the first round. Tough. I mean, I'm starting to feel like some of these teams that can never get out of the first round of the NCAA tournament or the first weekend. It's just, we'll figure it out. Like I said, I'm glad my mindset after losing that badly at lunch was in my head was just okay, what do we need to do for next year so I can win a match, So made me feel good about where my head was.
Yeah, and I think it ended up kicking off what became a dinger of a Wednesday. It was. Yeah, I went to lunch and then I came out to the course and we had played in league. I'm I thought about not playing in it, not just save face. I don't really care. I lost. You want to make fun of me for making match play, then whatever. But I was just tired, but I'm I have to play in league. And it turned out to be a great Wednesday for us. So. Beautiful weather. It was the solstice, so we actually stayed and played some stymies in the
beautiful
moonlight.
Sunset in the background, too.
Elk sunset, nothing better.
And then stymies is just, it's stymies, right?
It's the best,
Oh.
truly.
Some serious highlights came out of that. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the mindset of catching any of yours on camera.
You're like what every dad gets accused of, where like you don't have any videos of the mom and the kids. You're like that with me.
Yeah,
so I'm
because
really
you
good
made more putts than I did. So
yeah, sure.
but it's so fun. If you've never played Stymies, like let us know. We'll tell you how it's played, and you need to get 6-7 guys. It doesn't have to be at night like that. Like
No.
get out there like after your round on Saturday and play Stymies. You know, there's enough money changing hands that it makes it fun, and you know it'll be a good time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I cannot drink a beer tonight for undisclosed reasons, health wise. But I'm gonna crack this Liquid Death and cheers to you, buddy, for a good run at the Met. Didn't end how you
Next
wanted,
year.
but we'll get
2024. We're coming for you.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, I think that's a good lead in for what we wanted to talk about next. Was coming up on July, 6 months into the year. Not necessarily 6 months into the golf season per se, because Ohio.
Yeah, we're probably only about 3 months into that, or 2.5 months. Yep.
But good to do a little midsummer game check in. I guess I'll go first. We just heard a little bit about yours. You can.
Yeah.
I know you had some of your goals you met there. We'll talk about. So my big goal for the year, like I said, was I wanted my handicap to start with a 5. We were looking good early.
Yeah, really good.
We have backed up tremendously at this point. And it's funny because, so just to lay it out there, I got down to 6.6, was feeling good, and then the wheels came off for like a month. And we're up to 7.8 now because I had some scores from the fall drop out.
You've had some rough moments as
a lot of like 44, 43, all that going into league night scores. But been in the 30s 2 of the last 3 weeks here. So, ball striking was awesome Wednesday night. Shockingly, the putt, like I had 2 3-putts. I usually don't do that.
Yeah, you don't 3-putt much.
So I'm confident that will flip. Now I just need to keep doing what I'm doing. I've started staying a little closer to the ball and just focusing on the club face. Like, just square the stupid face. Because when I get into trouble is the big blocks and the big hooks. So if I can keep the dispersion a little tighter, I think we'll be okay. But yeah, up to a 7.8. And I would look back from last year, and it's like the same exact trend of how my handicap went. I like because I don't practice.
Come out of the gate hot.
Come out of the gate. No, it's not even that. It's more I start to play good at the end of the summer and into the fall. And then, that score brings my handicap down into the winter.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And then I come back and blow it up in the spring. And then I start to end of June and July.
Start to out again.
Play better again. Like I said.
Yeah, because I think you started playing pretty well, like, I don't know, middle of July last year?
Yeah, I mean.
When you kind of started, like, you had the Stampede, you guys won, and then after that, I remember you started playing pretty good, pretty consistently.
I had a really good late July and August. Even at the Stampede, I was battling driver really bad. But after that, I was hitting the ball great through the fall. So I'm just assuming that's going to be the same thing. I mean, like I said, I don't really practice. If I really want to get down to a 5 something, I'm going to have to hit balls and do that stuff. So it seems like I'm probably just going to follow the same trend line for this season. But we'll see.
It's all about peaking at the right time.
That's all I truly care about. I mean, I want to get down to that just for my own purposes. But,
I hear you.
All right, what's going on with yours?
All right, so when we I remember, I think it was our first episode, wasn't it? Kind of talked about some of our goals. The one I said on here was to qualify for match play, which we got that done. I still have other ones that are going to be coming up later in the year. One of them I have my first match in match play at the Elks on Thursday. But I wanted to shoot my age for 9 holes. I'd done that. And then, like I said, I saw those videos, played Friday in a money game, and just tweaked some setup stuff and moved the ball back a little bit further in my stance. And next thing you know, it was like, you would never believed I was 8 over through 12 holes in a match 2 days prior.
Yeah.
So I said I wanted to break 67 again this year. I shot 66 last year. I shot 66 Friday. Probably should have been, like I told you, I had 2 3-putt bogeys. Mm-hmm. Probably should have been 64 or 63. But yeah, so I've checked off a couple goals last week already. We still got some. that we need to get to. But, I mean, other than that, I think my game's in a good spot. I'm finally putting equal to or better than I was last year. Because I remember a couple weeks ago, I was like, man, this doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel right. And now it's starting to feel good. Even, I'm telling you, like, if I had not putted well last week on Tuesday and not Wednesday, because I didn't really, kind of hard to be like, oh, I was putting bad when I have 20-foot par putts. But on Tuesday, like, I was rolling the ball really well, and if I didn't have that, I would have never made the cut. But that's kind of where my game's at. I
mean, so I'm curious with the ball position thing, like, because a few times I played with you before, like leading up to the Met, you were not hitting your irons as well as I would.
No, so like I have a tendency to get the ball too far up in my stance. Yeah. So what ends up happening is it's either a pull or, it's toe.
Or you're trying.
Like I toe it. Like I'm towing the ball, which, and that's all the whole match on Wednesday. Like I was towing everything. You think, dummy, you know what you're doing. Like you just said, like I know what I'm doing when that happens. But it's so hard, like in the moment when you're like playing a match and you've got all this other stuff on your mind, whether you're going to give a putt or not. And it's like the last thing you're kind of thinking about is like, oh, I need to move the ball back. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like it's a tough time to make adjustments. But that's been a tendency of mine over the last couple of years is just it gets too far up in my stance.
Yeah.
Like my pitching wedge is probably where my like 5 and 6 iron should be. And my 5 and 6 iron are probably more so where a driver or a 3-wood should be. I kind of just get it up, and when I get tired, I kind of slump over the ball, and it just doesn't help me get the club set on a good plane. And that's kind of what was happening on Wednesday. Yeah. And shout out again to Nick for taking those videos, because I saw it and I'm like, no wonder I hit the ball like shit. I'm like, I look like humpback whale over the freaking ball. And the ball, I'm like playing a pitching wedge off my front left heel. Yeah. So, but no, I like where my game's at. We're not peaked, but we're heading, again, it's all process, right?
Yeah.
The Met was part of the process. The big one I told you is USGA events. Like the best chance I have is I'm playing in the USAM qualifier. The best chance I have realistically is the Mid-Am.
Right.
These college kids, man, they're just 18, 19, 20 years old. They're hitting the ball, 340, 335, and it's there's different scoring clubs in their hands. So I think if we can be peaking in August for that, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Mid-July is that's my...
Well, I mean, I obviously want to be playing good in mid-July, but if I'm playing good at that point, but it's not my peak, I'd be happy with that.
Sure.
So.
And then, I mean, we have a holiday weekend coming up. Lots of golf in our future.
Yeah. I got the 4th of July tournament, 4-man, 2-ball best ball event. Yep. We'll see who I get. I'm drafting next Sunday.
Is that a draft?
Yeah, it's a draft too. It's a good time. Well, I swear we were on a team last year. Maybe we weren't. Maybe I had Ryan.
I don't
remember.
Can't remember.
And then, are you playing any other days?
Not this weekend, no. We have family in town, so I got a lot of stuff going on.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you do.
We won't get into that too much.
No, that'll be for the...
I don't even think our explicit rating can cover what happened in my house.
We'll put that behind the paywall.
Oh, all right. Well, that's enough about us, but
sure.
I think we're both heading in the right direction.
Feels like it. We'll see. Wednesday Night League will be the test. Can I back it up?
Anytime you get down, just go watch the Scotty Scheffler Netflix episode, and he talks about the process and not focusing on results, even though I was talking about goals. But I think the process leads to meeting your goals, right? So,
yeah, I mean his process is leading to some incredible,
a lot of money
golf,
in his bank account.
A lot of money, and probably not the wins he wants, but we'll get there. Travelers Championship designated event. You said you didn't get to catch much of it.
No, and it goes back to the whole designated event after a major thing. Like I was so emotionally involved in the U.S. Open and hating on LACC as much as I did. But I just couldn't pack it in for the Travelers.
This one's usually a fun one. I like the course. I don't know. It's not as like it's a TBC course, but it's not like as quote unquote boring as some of them.
No, it's not. But did you hear what Rory said about it?
What did he say?
He said that the technology of golf has passed that course by.
Well, no doubt. It's 6,800 yards. This is why, I mean...
It's probably soft.
In Rory's defense, he's in favor of using, like, the modified golf ball.
Yeah, well, because he's still going to hit the ball 310 off the tee.
Yeah, I mean, he's smart. He realizes that's still an advantage for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, Keegan Bradley won. $3.6 million. Gotta be
Not
nice.
a bad payday for staying at home.
No. And so the cool thing that you probably saw the stuff on social media, but like the week before, missed the cut at the U.S. Open. He's out there playing putt-putt with his kids on that Saturday. Goes out, wins this. They got little trophies for the kids out on the green. They're kissing them, throwing them back like they're drinking out of them.
Honestly, they should do that at every tournament.
Yeah.
Especially if they know someone like, you got like 5-6 guys battling now. It's like, all right, all these guys have like reasonably aged kids. It's like, they should have them on like standby.
Yeah, they definitely should. It just looked awesome. It was such a nice touch by the tournament. I think I've come full circle on Keegan Bradley.
I have too.
I used to just hate him.
Yeah,
and I hated all the twitching and the club twirling and all the the whole vibe was just not.
I didn't like him. I didn't like him probably say 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
There's always a soft spot in my heart for a guy that's like a dad. And he's like still out there and he's prime of his game and with having a family. That's why I like Tony Finau so much, right? It's like he's what he's got in the background. So I've grown to really like him. I really do. I root for him now.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and I honestly, other than that, I wouldn't be able to tell you why. A cool win for the Northeast. Obviously, he's from New England area. It's in Connecticut, so he's a very popular player in that part of the country. Okay, so before we get to notables, did you see the Ches Reavie video?
No.
Saturday.
First off, that is a dude that I really don't like.
I don't care. He's neither here nor there for me. Saturday night, he's at the bar at the Cheesecake Factory, which I would like to call the Chezcake Factory from here on out. Watching the highlights of like his round being played on the TV, and someone like catches a video of him doing it, and he's just got like this shit-eating grin on his face, and I'm just like,
oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's kind of funny though. Like,
it's super funny, but like just like a weird thing. I don't know.
Like, could you imagine like the bartender's just like sitting there, he's like, "Isn't that you on TV?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
he was enjoying it way too much based on the video that I saw.
What did he shoot on Saturday?
I don't remember on Saturday, but he was in second. Like he was.
Yeah, I knew he was up there. I just didn't know what he shot.
He was in second to Keegan.
I wish we could do that with the rounds we want to rewatch. Like,
oh my god,
sit it down at the Cheesecake Factory or like a grandstand around the corner from and just go watch our highlights, like, and just sit there and smile.
I think it makes it funnier that it was Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, that is pretty funny, and I'm a big fan of the Cheesecake Factory or the Chezcake Factory.
The Chezcake Factory for sure. So I referenced Scotty Scheffler earlier. T4 this week, again, just absolutely dominating tee to green. Full credit to Kyle Porter for these stats here. He's been kind of tracking him over the last, for the season, basically. His last 10 tournaments rankings tee to green. So we're going to go travelers backwards. Second, third, first, second, fifth, second, first, second. And there's only one win in there. It was at the Players.
Oh, God. I think if you showed that, like, with no name, and you showed that to anybody that knew anything about golf, they'd be like, that guy's won 9 times.
Yeah. So just clearly just not able to score it enough to win, especially these, the ones that go deep. So I was going to ask you, also credit to Kyle Porter, 15 tournaments this year. How many golfers do you think he's been beaten by?
15, you said 15 tournaments? Yeah. He's probably been beaten by 19 people.
Oh, that's way too low.
Or I guess, hold on, sorry. Let me repeat that. So 15 tournaments, I'll say 27 people.
So
because he's got, 4 wins this year?
2.
2?
I'm thinking the Players in Phoenix.
Yeah, so it might be around 30.
No, it's 66. But that's still
super
impressive.
But he's had a lot of seconds.
That's what I was like
A
in
ton
my
of top
brain. I'm
fives.
like,
yeah, I get where you.
I was like,
get
I'm
that.
like, man, okay, how many seconds did he have? I think he's had like 5 or 6 or maybe even 7. But okay, but still, that's crazy.
Yeah. Basically, no one has played this well tee to green since Tiger in like 04, 05, I think is what I saw.
Except when Tiger was doing it, he was like the best putter in the world too. So, or one of the best putters in the world. But I mean, he's got to figure it out eventually. I'm just waiting for that one tournament, and maybe it'll be the Open Championship. I doubt it because those greens are, the last thing anybody that's not stroking the ball well wants to have a bigger backstroke.
Maybe.
I don't think so. No.
It could
I've
free
been
him
there.
up. You know what I mean? He seems like a guy who just is out there like playing golf, right? Like he's not hitting golf
Maybe
shots.
slower greens free him up a little bit. And
Yeah, you just go be an artist.
he's not so
right?
worried about like making the perfect stroke and
Yeah.
yeah.
Just go out there and get the ball in the hole. I feel like that fits him.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, at some point he's going to figure it out, and it might not even be in a major, but he's going to win by like 15 shots.
I feel
and
like
everybody's going to be like, "Holy God. Like, what the hell just happened?"
I think he's just going to like absolutely smoke everyone in the FedEx Cup playoffs. Like that just feels like
that
what
would be
he'll do.
like
He'll just win all
the
three
$20
events.
million on the line. He's like, all right, I'm going to figure it out today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Some other notables, Rory was T7, which I found impressive. I thought he would just be completely done after the U.S. Open.
Yeah,
coming
that's
up
a good
short.
comeback for him after,
He
the
made an
heartbreak.
ace in the first round.
I saw that.
First one on tour.
That is wild to me.
Chuck the ball into the crowd.
I saw that. They're like, "Oh, where's your ball?" He's like, "I threw it away." Didn't even care.
Man.
See, if you would have asked me, like, without knowing anything, like, how many hole-in-ones does Rory have on tour?
Right.
I've been like 6 or 7. Like, I don't know. That was being his first one. That was just, I thought that was wild. I seriously thought when I saw the video, I thought it was like a misprint or something.
Michael Block had one first.
I know. Isn't that nuts? He did say that. He said if he was playing from the same spots Rory was, he'd be a lot better than Rory is. So maybe Michael Block's just the better iron player. I don't know.
Who could say? JT, Signs of Life. Tie for 9th. Third tee to green. It's lost like 2 or 3 shots putting.
62 on Saturday, right?
Yep.
Which was outshined by another notable that we'll get to in a second. But,
Exactly.
But yeah, at least I think we talked about it last week. It's like it almost felt at a certain point, like, is he hurt? Like, what is going on? It's cool to see him finally get a top 10 because when we get to another segment that we're going to be doing today, it's not good. It's not been good all year.
Yeah, maybe he was just hurt. He wasn't injured. He was just hurt.
Just hurt.
Yeah.
Is he recently married or anything? Do we know?
He
He got married a couple years
like
ago.
a year or two ago.
So you can't blame it on that. Well,
I don't think there's any kids in the
statistics on
way.
that.
So I don't know.
Maybe he's an outlier.
He's a streaky player as it is.
I think he is too, but I think the low this time seems a lot lower.
I mean, just there's guys that like you can like. I mean, we play golf. We know like you can go shoot 85 and be like, damn. I don't know how it was that bad. Like, really. And he kind of had those vibes after the U.S. Open where he shot the 81. He really didn't seem too fazed by it.
No, and then you just think the courses that they're playing, like the very, very small mistakes are so magnified.
Yeah,
like
razor-thin margins.
I mean, very, very even the easy courses like this weekend, like those courses are hard and the margins of error are just so small. And, 3 yards here or 5 yards there. For us, probably doesn't really matter that much. For them, that's the difference between them making a cut and missing a cut.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I still don't know what it means for his season. Like, is he really back? I don't know.
He's got to put at least 3 or 4 in a row before I'm like, okay, he might be figuring this thing out.
Yeah.
Because he's got some outliers. We'll talk about it later, but he's got some outliers.
Sure.
So,
Ricky. T13 backed it up again. I thought pretty impressively after the U.S. Open heartbreak.
The guy is a top 20 machine.
It's unreal.
And I'm at the point now. If he's not on the Ryder Cup team, I riot. I am rioting. This guy. I mean, it's every week. It's every week. Like
Do we need to have this debate now?
I just want it known that I will riot if he is not on the Ryder Cup team.
I think I was with you until Wyndham won.
No,
US Open.
I need Ricky. He's got the experience already. Wyndham Clark in 2 years from now. Prove that this year's not a fluke. You can come 2 years from now.
I'm with you. I think Ricky,
And maybe Wyndham cuts his teeth at the President's Cup in a couple years.
I think Ricky is also like a better course fit too.
Yeah,
But
that course is not built for someone. Now Wyndham hits it straight, but not to dig too much into the Ryder Cup. We will do this later on when it gets a lot closer. But the way he's playing in the top 20s and the top 10s, and he's been putting the crap out of the ball. There's nothing more demoralizing for somebody you're playing in match play for a guy that is putting the ball well.
Yeah.
Because it makes it seem like you're never going to win a hole ever, or even tie a hole. Because the guy, if they're making putts, and that's what he's been doing.
So here's your issue. We're going to do this now because I'm already here. Wyndham Clark's going to be in on points. That's the problem. He's now won twice.
Yeah, but
Currently second in standing. So here, just give a quick rundown. Scheffler, Clark, Brooks, Xander, Cantlay, Homa. They have that top six.
So no
spots right
JT
now.
in there, no Spieth as of now.
Correct. And then here's your 7 through 12. Keegan, Spieth, Cam Young, Sam Burns, JT.
I'm out on Cam Young. He's not had a very good year.
JT's 11. Morikawa is currently 12.
I'm out on Morikawa too.
So Ricky is
To
currently...
me, it really comes down to Ricky, JT, Jordan Spieth.
Ricky is 16. Finau is 18. That is way down there.
Yeah, we'll get to. He's a notable later on, but I just think so. And realistically, to me, Cam Young's not the name, right? Like, and I know that's not what it's about, but when you think about leadership in the clubhouse and things like that, Cam Young doesn't do it, right? And this team absolutely needs leadership on some level. Now, I think that's Ricky? No, but I do think a combination of either JT or Jordan and Ricky would probably be the best fit.
Yeah, I mean, JT
because you
and
need
Jordan are on the
that
team.
leadership. Jordan and JT will give that to him. Like I said, Cam Young not going to give it to you. As much as we just talked about how much we like Keegan, I just don't know if that's a very, not going to say locker room fit, but like just not the leadership you need. That this team is currently qualified is most of them only have one Ryder Cup under their belt, and there's a couple first timers on there. So you need somebody like a Jordan that is played in a few, has seen both sides of the American soil and the European soil. Throw in a Cam Young or a Wyndham Clark if he doesn't make it in on points for some reason. Man, that sounds risky. That sounds like, getting over there and just an absolute blowout. But
dude, Scotty Scheffler has 12,000 more points than Wyndham Clark in second place.
That's insane.
He basically has he has 3 times as many points as Xander. Like, it's wild how good he's played over the last 2 years.
He probably could not play in another tournament and be perfectly fine. Well, heck, Brooks is only going to play in one more tournament. He's probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
If he shows up at the Open at any sort of manner, he's almost guaranteed a spot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll be on.
Yeah. All right, enough about the Ryder Cup. We'll get to that later. No, it needs to be said, but that's where I stand on Ricky. I think that's how good of golf he's playing.
I'm with you
right
too.
now.
It would be nice for him to validate it with a win, just to make it a no-brainer.
Like if he wins, there's no doubt about it. Even if he doesn't make it on points, he's going to be on the team.
I think if he wins and is playing well at the end of the season, that would be like a lock.
Yeah,
honestly,
I agree.
He might even get there in points at that point. Who knows?
Yep.
Some disappointing missed cuts from Morikawa and Rahm. I mean,
Rahm's just not. I don't know, he's not playing bad enough to be like, oh, he's injured or whatever. But it's just not been very good. I know he backed his way into a top 10 last week.
Yeah, I mean that was.
But
shot 65 on a Sunday at a U.S. Open.
That's what happens when you shoot 65 in the early rounds, and then you get guys out there when the course starts firming up a little bit, and they're worried about making mistakes, and you kind of just they didn't really go anywhere.
Right.
So
I don't know. And like I said, Morikawa, his first round was like an atrocity. And then he comes out and shoots 7 under in the second round, misses a cut on the number.
Yeah.
I think Rahm took his soul in Hawaii. He's not been back.
He's not played well
since.
since he gave up that big lead.
And he had the back spasms at Memorial. Like, who knows what he's got going on. But just kind of, for him...
That he did get married this past year, so we can blame it on that, maybe.
Well, I don't know.
I didn't say he can't come back. I'm just saying, like, that's the issue this year. He got married in the offseason last year.
I guess it's a big life change.
It is.
Can have an impact.
Yeah. No, it is a big, yeah.
All
We're
right.
going to blame it on that.
So, God, I'm going to do this to you here.
I'm
Who needed the back nine six-pack this week?
going to set my fandom aside.
Okay, good. That's big of you.
Unbiased this week.
That's big of you. I put Tyson Alexander on here around 279 just like for like posterity's purpose to go through the exercise, so to speak. Kevin Kisner, first round, he shoots 42 in the front nine and withdrawals.
I kind of saw it coming, too, because did you see the videos of him playing with Bill Murray in the Pro-Am?
No, I did not.
Like, literally the first video it was like on the first tee, Bill Murray's like, all right, Pro, you going to put one out there for us? And he's like, no, probably not. And then he just like, you could tell it was like mega right. And it was like, there's something, it's probably a mix of confidence. At this point, I'm really starting to think it might be an injury. Like, I really think so. Like, it's just not, I mean, he's not young either. Like, things, when you get to his age, things just start to break down a little bit. Like, whether it's very minor. But Kevin Kisner, 42 on the front nine, WD. Tough fan for us kids fans.
Look, if it is
tough scene for us kids fans.
If it is injury, then of course, like, totally understand. But based on just like doing some Twitter research, I was, looking at the replies and stuff, there was one tweet from like a couple weeks ago where he said he was close, which makes me think he's just dealing with swing problems, swing trouble of some kind. Someone asked him like, hey, should I lay a bag on you? And he just replied, no. So he's searching.
He is a man of the people, though.
He knows he's searching. He was honest, so I respect that, appreciate that. But yeah, I mean,
he's got to get it, though.
A 42 and a withdrawal, if you're hurt, fine. But come on.
Yeah.
It's just a bad look. You
Yeah,
got to go finish that round.
It is. It's a bad look. I'm not even going to fight this week. I ain't got it in me.
All right, and look, hey, maybe he'll get the bump. He'll be back.
That's
JT just came
my
back
hope.
from an 81.
That's true. That's my hope. So hopefully, yeah. No argument here this week. I'll lay down and let you have this one.
All right, Kevin Kisner needed the back nine six-pack this week. Let's get the bump in play.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I need my guy back. We just need to win them to get him back. He always plays well there.
Yeah, you need him on a comfy spot.
That is a comfy course for him.
I don't know if he's playing this week, but Detroit Golf Club, probably another comfy spot.
Very comfy. I'd be surprised if he plays this week.
Yeah, I don't know.
Side note, Detroit Country Club next week, Donald Ross, excellent course. But did you see the storm damage from yesterday?
I saw one picture
Holy crap,
of the
they had
tree.
like trees. There's multiple trees that they were out there cutting up today.
Yeah, that was bad.
Legit, there's not a lot of people that are big fans of that stop, but I will say this. Detroit sports fans, really good sports fans, they show up for that, big crowds, and it's just a different course.
Yeah.
It's not the hardest course in the world for those guys, but I like a little mix. Like, it seems like sometimes they get in those, like, you can't tell the difference between the Travelers and the 3M and all these courses, and then you get on like something like that. It's like old style country club, old Donald Ross. I like it. I do. It's one of my favorite big tournament events that I kind of sit down and watch.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a nice classic course, to your point. Okay. Hadn't done a power ranking in a while. You had a good idea, which I think we took stock of our games in the midpoint of our year here. You thought it would be a good idea to power rank our biggest disappointments for the season in terms of players thus far.
Yeah. There's a lot of options out there.
There were a lot of options.
And
At first I thought I was going to struggle, but then I quickly kind of realized.
Yeah, there's a lot of options, and I think you kind of narrow it down to like 8 or 9 guys, and you're like, all right, how do I put these in order?
Yeah, and for me, I'll just straight up, there's no, measurement or stats are involved with this. This is like
like I'm going to throw out some stats of my reasoning, but like there's no like, oh, I plugged these in and this is the point system. Nothing like that.
no, and it's all relative. Like because there's
some of this is personal. Like
exactly
that guy might not be having the worst year, but like for how I think he should be playing it's the biggest disappointment.
That's what I'm saying. It's all relative.
Yep. All
right. Do you want to throw your number 6?
I'll kick it off.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. Billy Horschel is at 6. 10 miscuts and only 2 top 10s.
Ooh.
I mean, for a guy that like 2 years ago, you were like, it was a freaking freight train. It just seemed like he was always there every week. And, he kind of outlined.
Won the Memorial last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of outlined last week of like, he's clearly going through some stuff. He had that subpar interview and very open about some of the battles. He's not injured. He's clear about that. He's like, I'm not injured. But this slightly, I thought he was slightly disappointing. Just it was kind of one of those guys that you're like a couple years ago, you're like, holy crap, this guy's going to be on like the next 3 or 4 Ryder Cup teams. Just the way he was playing, and it seemed like he was so consistent that it was like he's just consistently going to be in on points.
Yeah.
And not the case this year. Definitely major steps back this year. So that's my 6.
Totally get it. Billy did not make my list, so I'm glad you brought him up so we could talk about it. I got a bit of a curveball here. Just because I felt like it needed to be listed. Tiger Woods.
I could see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Especially
the hope of like, he plays in the Masters, you're like, all right, like we might get like maybe like not a full. You're never going to get a full year from him again.
No,
but like you thought maybe the Memorial or at least the majors plus like the Memorial and maybe a handful of other tournaments thrown in there.
Yeah, what he did last year, making the cut at the Masters, making the cut at the PGA, going over to St. Andrews, seeing him walk there, like. Felt like maybe he, if he was doing it that way, that, another year of healing and another year of rehab, like maybe.
But again, you would still think you're like, we're going to get 10 to 12 events out of him.
Yeah, and I just thought like the magic could still be there. This year almost feels like, the magic might actually be dead.
It might be gone.
And it's sad because you look and Phil Mickelson just finished 2nd place at the Masters. We should be seeing Tiger Woods legitimately competing at the Masters until he's 55, 56.
Yeah.
And it just feels like maybe that dream is actually dead.
Yeah, I could see that. And, a lot of that might be, it's like, he's got Charlie and he's super focused on Charlie. And, he might just look back and go, look, I'm never going to get the Jack. Realistically, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Even if he, minus car wreck, at his age, like to win another, what does he need, 4 more to pass him?
3 to tie, yeah.
Even if he, no car wreck, no nothing, take out some of the injuries,
still would
realistically it was going to be tough.
Yeah.
But I think now with the injuries and stuff like that, I think we're parents, right? Like at some point in your life, you're like, all right, my stuff takes a back seat. Mm-hmm. Now it's all about my kids. And maybe he got to that point.
Yeah.
He's like, his kids are getting older and he's seeing maybe less years of like, okay, I only have so many more years of Charlie playing junior golf, Maybe that's more. Maybe he's not super injured. Maybe that's just what he wants to focus on right now.
Yeah, so, and honestly, I hope that's the case. That'd be.
I really do. Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like it deserved a conversation here.
Yeah, I would. Again, personal, right? Like of expectations, not necessarily maybe like playing, but the amount that we've actually seen him. So I like that. All right, my 5, Hideki.
Okay. Yeah, definitely get that.
0 wins. The guy hits the ball way too freaking good to have 0 wins. Just way too good. This surprised me because I felt like there were a handful of tournaments where I'm like, okay, he's up here. He may not win, but he's up here. Only 2 top 10s.
Yeah. Seems like he's done a lot of getting there, and you see him and you notice him, and then it's just like gone.
It's like one bad round. I kind of went back and looked at some of his rounds. He plays most of his, at least the 2 top 10s. He was in like 2nd or 3rd, going into either Saturday or Sunday. And it's like he kind of fell back a little bit. So it's always been one round. But again, a Masters win not that long ago, and it's like you're saying, and he's not that old, and you're thinking, okay, like is this going to be some kind of launching point? And this year's kind of been a step backwards for him.
Yeah, I don't know what he's a very, very private person, so I don't really know. Like, I was shocked to find out he was married or whatever. Like, I think he might have a kid or kids. So who knows what's going on?
Not a lot of information there, but
yeah, I know he was dealing with a little bit of a neck thing for a while. So,
man, you want to talk about when a guy is on, a guy is on. Like he is his on is like best of the best, right?
When he's putting well and like the ball striking is always there, like it's.
I mean,
when
he's
you have like
top 3 player in the world.
Yeah, when you have bets or something in place and you see Hideki's got 4 under through 6, you're like, oh, shit.
Here we go. Yeah, you're like these bets are done. Yeah. So that was 5 for me.
Got it. 5 for me, Xander Schauffele. Just a lot of like
I did
there,
want to,
but
not. I get where you're coming from with that.
He's just like kind of always around. He's talked about like, he's any tournament, you're looking at him, he's like top 5 on the odds board. But he's just not really contended this season.
He was a notable for me. He was one of those like 8 or 9 guys that I kind of talked about and just how those ranked. He was one of those.
He went on that heater the middle of summer last year. I think he won 2. It might have been 2 or 3 in a row. Started with the Travelers actually.
Yep.
And I don't know. It just. The U.S. Open was like...
the U.S. Open...
Saturday round was so sad. Like
I know. Well, he ties the record on Thursday and then plays over par the rest of the way.
Yeah, 5 over the rest of the way. Just, I don't know. He's a lot of like around, but not really in it, like competing in it right now.
I can see that. I can see that.
And
again, he's kind of one of those guys, him and Collins, like they got billed. Like these are the batch of next U.S. golfers, right? And it's... I know we compare everybody to Tiger Woods in our mind, whether we try to or not. But it's like, why can't you be a Brooks and like go out and like win a couple majors, right? It's like not everybody's going to win double-digit majors, right? We know that, but just win a couple, and it's like those guys, other than Colin with 2, I mean, he's not. Xander doesn't even have 1, so I can see why he's in there.
All right, just a random question for you. Over under 1.5 major wins for the combination of Xander and Patrick Cantlay.
Under.
Take the under?
Yep.
So one of them is going to get 1.
I would say maybe 1.
Yeah.
Nasty article Golf Digest wrote about Patrick Cantlay, by the way.
So I saw that.
I read it today.
I did not read it yet.
Side note on this. It was pretty much like he is leading a coup against the PGA Tour after they signed, made this deal with Liv. And the biggest reason is because it was like he's so boring that he's not going to get any pip ever.
Yeah.
Like he's not a fan person. Like he's not going to get any of his side money. He's not like a super marketable guy. So he's like, yeah, of course he's going to lead this coup. He wants the pots to stay, he wants as much leverage. The only leverage he has right now is like, I'm going to run off the Liv. And if they combine, he has no leverage anymore. That's essentially what the article said. It was nasty. Oh man, I was like, not gonna lie. You know where I stand on Patrick when his caddy had to like come out and sign something for my daughter during a practice round. Like he just like completely ignored her when every other player stopped to sign stuff. Not been a big Patrick Cantlay fan since then. But like I'm like, they're not wrong. He plays slow for one, and he's kind of dry. Not to get too far off subject.
I know we're off subject.
But I wanted to bring up that article because I read it and I'm like, God damn. Like, holy shit. They just like laid it on him.
We're like in a golf fan generation where like the PGA Tour just tried to sell to us that all these guys are so good and like just a bunch of class acts. Look how awesome they are. And it's like hard to discern who you should and shouldn't like.
It's hard. Unless you have personal experiences like I've had.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I think Patrick Cantlay is just not for me. I'll just say that.
Yeah, he's not my cup of tea, and obviously he's not a lot of people's cup of tea because he's not won PIP yet. And 2 years ago he won 5 times or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, he won the FedEx Cup that year.
Yeah, so if he was going to get PIP, it would have been that year. He didn't get it that year.
God, I'm about to throw up just thinking of everybody calling him Patty Ice during that year.
Oh God, like
get out of here.
Again, like you see these guys, like there's a reason. Let's just be honest. There's a reason he is not in the Netflix series.
Probably. Unless he just said no to it. But that would be a
He's
dumb
not.
career move.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Exactly.
It's more visuals for, more thing, your sponsors getting seen.
Yeah.
Your sponsor would probably drop you if you said no to something like that. So it's not that. He's just not marketable. And the PGA Tour knows that. Like, you know that. Like, they probably, like, Monahan's probably like, when he's at the top of the leaderboard, like, oh, God, our ratings are going to tank. Like, he's just not. He's just not marketable. When a guy like Joel Damon, and no offense, like, I love Joel, super people person, man of the people, very well documented. But when it's like someone like that who's like won one tournament on the PGA Tour is deemed more marketable than you are, that's not good. Like,
True.
for you, it's not good. So,
Yeah.
but we'll move on. Sorry. Side note.
You're good. You're good. You're number 4.
All right. Colin Morikawa.
Okay.
0 wins, 4 top 10s. Again, one of those guys that we always talk about. It's like kind of always up there for the odds,
Mm-hmm.
and it just never materializes. And I couldn't believe he was the one where I'm like, I could not believe he had 4 top 10s. Like, to me, it was like, I was going to look it up and it was going to be like 1 or 2.
Yeah, it seems like it's that far off.
And it just, again, it was the guy that we always hear about, best iron player ever. Like, one of the best iron players ever.
Mm-hmm.
Look at his dispersion. There's like none. And it's like, well, how is this not equating to more wins? That's all I can really say.
The crazy
about
thing
him.
is I don't think he's dipped. His approach play is not really dipped. So I think the driver's been a little weird. And then obviously the short game's been troublesome on and off the greens, or on and around the greens. So.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just kind of one of those guys. It's like, this is the next big, one of the next big guys coming through, American golfer. And it just, outside the 2 majors, it's kind of been a slump since.
Yeah, he was number 3 on my list. So
Okay.
Totally get it. My number 4, like I said, this list is relative. Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
I think he won back in the fall, if I'm correct,
Mm-hmm.
but has not won since.
Obviously, no majors this year.
Missed the cut at the Masters, which was like...
That was a big, because we talked about it going into the Masters. It was like, this feels like the year. It's like, this is his to lose.
Yeah,
like,
this
is his year.
My heart out.
Yeah.
And then what happened at the U.S. Open, where it just seemed stuck in neutral that entire last round, when it was all he had to do was pass Wyndham Clark by a shot.
Yeah.
And just couldn't get there.
And again, second year in a row where he's done that in a major. Like, again, Cam Smith kind of went out and won it, but it's like, man, if he just makes a couple putts, it's like he wins. Like, just a couple. We're not asking for 5-6 shots. Like, we're asking for 1 or 2 shots here and there. Yeah, I get that one.
Yeah,
he was one of the 9 that I kind of had. Another notable for me. Like, it's kind of like, I'm disappointed, but it's like, it's kind of hard to be disappointed because he's actually started to play better. But
yeah, I mean, it was one thing when he was in this major drought and like he was racking up all these wins and winning FedEx Cups and being a stud in the Ryder Cup. Well, some of that stuff's kind of started to not happen.
Yeah,
and he's at the point of his career where like it's just about what is the number going to be in terms of the final number for major wins. And so every year that goes by he doesn't win one is frankly disappointing. And I'm sure he would say that too. That's what he cares about.
Yep. Yeah.
So I want nothing more than to see Rory win another major here soon. Hopefully it's a Claret Jug here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right. So my 3, I had it written down differently and then I flip-flopped them. Spieth for me is 3. I know since the PGA, well documented, having some wrist issues, but he wasn't playing good before that. He just wasn't.
He popped at a couple spots that he had popped at before.
But like we talked about, like he kind of got the off the tee thing figured out, and then everything else kind of left him, and it's because we always talked about in years past, it's like, oh man, if he can just learn to hit a tee ball and play, like just keep it in the fairway. He's such a good iron player, this and that. Finally gets that figured out, and it's kind of just has not materialized into anything other than, he's not won this year. I didn't look up his top 10s, but he's not won this year. And for guys like him, again, one of those names, like no wins, that's all you need to know. Like, he should be winning at least a minimum one time a year.
Right.
And he still might. He still might. But I'm just saying, like, as of right now, little past halfway through the season, no wins. That's super disappointing to me. So he was 3 for me.
Well, spoiler alert, you hit my number 1. So part of that's my own personal bias. I don't know. It just felt like he finally...
You had Colin at 3, right?
I had Colin at 3. Okay. So we can skip that. We'll go to your 3 real quick.
We'll come back to Spieth.
Yeah, we will.
My 2 was Justin Thomas.
Yeah, 2.
Um,
That's also my 2.
0 wins. Again, you could just stop right there because that's a guy that, again, 1 a year. Minimum 1 a year. Should be, he's that type of talent. Only 3 top 10s. And, right now he's sitting outside he's not going to be at the championship, the FedEx
Yeah, he's sitting outside Tour Championship, outside
he's
the Ryder Cup
66 right now in
standings.
FedEx Cup points.
Yeah.
So, not great. Not great at all.
And it's like, he's always that guy where he's talked about within that top 5 kind of group of guys, like sort of the next tier back.
Yeah. Yep.
But like, his peak is as good as those guys. And every week it seems like it's even myself, like people trying to talk themselves into Justin Thomas. And
that's another guy that Vegas is like, I don't know if they've got like an inside track or something, but like we see him every week. We're like, God, 30-1. Like, fuck, I got to come
Dude, he
bet him.
was 60-1 this week.
Yeah. It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like 30-1 to 60-1. You're like, fuck, it's just like, it's too enticing to not bet him.
Yeah.
Because you're like, 1 week he's going to figure it out and I'm going to hit a 60-1 winner.
Right.
Like,
and he has a history of doing that too, like having cold spells and then out of nowhere winning. But yeah, I'm with you. It's just been a super disappointing year, coming off a major win. Felt like, okay, he's got 2 now. I know they're both PGAs, but 2 majors. Felt like he was ready to take that next step and just...
And as we talked about earlier, he's not qualified for the Ryder Cup right now.
No.
So pretty interesting to see Spieth and Justin Thomas not qualified for the Ryder Cup.
All right, I'll jump in and take that. JT was my 2 as well.
Okay.
I'll take the number 1 here. We already talked about him, Jordan Spieth. Just hasn't really tasted the smoke all year. He had the playoff at RBC Heritage. He should have won. It was on his putter twice, 3 times maybe if you count regulation there.
Yep.
Just not. I know the wrist injury, but like it just every single year at this point. He's got like a new thing added into his takeaway, and like we're just like constantly searching. And it's like at some point, dude, you were like the best like just pure golfer, get the ball in the hole golfer, on the planet.
Yeah, he's an athlete. He is. He's an athlete. Like he's an athlete,
and an artist. Like he was
both.
the guy.
Yep.
And it just seems like he's gotten so lost in the sauce of either trying to get distance or to hit a fade or whatever, like to get away from what made him so great. And I don't know if he's ever going to get that back at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
It just seems too manufactured at this point. He was like the natural, right? That was him.
And there's, there's something to be said about, like, not everybody's got the perfect swing, right? Like, not everybody swings a club like Rory. He does. He has got the perfect swing. He does. That's not Jordan.
Mm-mm.
And when you start trying to chase that when things are going well, like, well, I don't like how it looks. Who the fuck cares how it looks? If you know where, I've always been in the boat. You know where it's going. And you know how far it's going to go. It doesn't matter what your swing looks like. Example: Jim Furyk. Like, how many times do you think he sat in front of a coach and they said, "We got to change this"? Right. And he won a U.S. Open. He won millions and millions of dollars on tour. Like, that's the approach he needs to take. Like, I don't really care what it like. I'm not Rory. I'm not JT. I don't have the perfect swing. And just go out there and, like you said, get the ball in the hole because that's what he's really good at. Yeah. He finds ways to make pars and birdies out of spots that I don't think anybody else could make even bogeys out of. Right. And it's frustrating to watch.
And I've heard him on other podcasts and stuff kind of describing like how his body's changed since that time and like, his feels aren't the same anymore. And it's like a lot of it, I mean, when you hear that the first time, you're like, okay, yeah, sure, I can understand that. But then when you think about it more and more, you're like, is he really just trying to convince himself?
I think he's trying to, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's trying to convince himself of something that he doesn't need to convince himself of. So,
And I mean, the perfect example of this, honestly, was Tiger Woods, right? He reinvented his swing, 3-4 different times, caused himself to probably miss some years of his prime,
yep.
Trying to make it better than what it was. And granted, look at his career. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself,
Yeah.
but you don't know. Who knows? If he never went away from Butch, or if he never, instead of doing it 3 times, he did it twice, who knows?
Yeah, I agree with that. My one's definitely personal.
Oh, God. So it's Kevin Kisner?
Yeah, Kevin. I mean, dude, it's just been okay. He's not a guy that you're going to watch on the range and go, holy crap, that's like, but he's such a good putter, or he has been such a good putter, that you're like, this doesn't make any sense. And his whole thing is like, I'm not very long, but I'm straight. Like, and he's kind of like Joel Damon, where it's like, I need tighter, shorter golf courses, to compete. He knows he's done hit the ball 340. Like, he knows that. But, like, it's not even straight anymore. He's got 8 missed cuts this year.
Yeah.
8. Like, for a guy that hits it as straight as he was and putts the ball the way he does, you should not be missing that many cuts. Like, are you going to win a lot? No. But, like, you shouldn't be missing cuts, though. Because, like, I can see, like, a guy like Rory gets out there. Sometimes he gets a little wayward, and he's super long. He's so long that he can kind of get himself in trouble.
Yeah. That's
not him, And when you pride yourself of, like, being like a David Toms, where it's like you're short, but, like, you from 170 in, you can get the ball in a hole a lot better than everybody else, and that's not happening. Mm-hmm. That's a dangerous mix.
Short,
and we're starting to see that right now.
Short and crooked is the death sentence.
I mean, on the PGA Tour, it's the ultimate. Like, you're not going to have a card in 2 years kind of death sentence. Like, David Toms was so good because David Toms just never missed fairways and never missed greens, and he could putt. He was definitely not the guy laid up on a par 4 in a fucking major championship and was like, I can get up and down from here.
Yeah. That's
the type of player Kevin Kisner is. Mm-hmm. But when you're not straight and you're not getting up and down, that's an ultimate death sentence. And it's just sad because I think he's one of the guys that legitimately grows the game because he's a people person and he's very regular.
Yeah.
He's not a Rory. But he grows the game because people are like, that looks like a guy that I could just be playing with at my home course, Mm-hmm. And those are guys like the Damons, and those guys are good for the game. And I hope he turns it around for that fact alone, is just to be able to grow the game. People relate to him really well. So, but he's been by far the biggest disappointment.
I get it.
I mean, he was on the freaking President's Club for last year, for God's sakes.
Yeah, the President's Cup team. Yeah.
Sorry, President Cup team.
I know what you meant.
But like he was on that team, and it's like it, and 8 missed cuts, no top 10s. Like that's
maybe it was a switch to Wilson's staff, career ender.
It's not. I mean, in fairness to Wilson, it was not good before he went to Wilson. It was not good at the end of last year either. So, well, that was fun.
That was fun. It was nice to kind of go back through and just see where you've been,
Yeah, just some vent about the guys we like a little bit. Seemed very personal in there for a little bit.
That was highly personal. I want all these guys to turn it around. That's my whole thing.
But I'm not going to be like, Ches Reevy's been my biggest disappointment this year. No one gives a fuck about that guy.
No.
So, but no, that was good. I liked it. We'll follow up at the end of the year with those. Maybe we can. These will be rearranged. Maybe some of these guys won't even be on here.
That's my hope, is they're not even on here. But yeah, we shall see. All right, it's time. Patio beers.
It's time for another drink before we start this.
Just putting them back right now. I'm living vicariously through you. That's for sure. All right, anything goes on the patio, as you like to say. I asked first last week. I remember this time. So that means you,
That's
sir,
me.
Can ask away.
All right. So I saw a post, someone that I follow on Instagram that just got back from a golf trip. They went up to, what is it? Like a place in Wisconsin. It just got redone. Hold on, I'll look it up because I don't want to say something wrong. Sand Valley.
Oh, yeah.
In the Lido course. Is it Lido?
Yes, the Lido.
I saw him like, dude, I'm like, I haven't been on a golf trip in forever.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, budget in mind, like realistic, in the next 12 months, if you could go to one place on a golf trip that is like doable, like not like, oh, I want to go to Pebble Beach. Like that's expensive. That takes some planning.
Yeah.
Where would you go on a golf trip in the next 12 months? Realistically, if you like, you could plan it today for say next May. Where would you go?
Realistically is a good caveat.
Because we got kids. Like realistically, like we're not going to hop on a plane and go to Bandon next year.
I would say Scotland and Bandon are at the top of my list for sure.
Obviously,
Money
but
no
like
object.
that takes some planning with kids and
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the answer, because I do think it's doable, I've looked into it a little bit, is North Carolina.
Like Pinehurst,
Yeah,
do Southern
a couple
Pines,
of courses there, do Southern
Mid
Pines,
Pines.
Tobacco Road, Mid Pines, all that.
and I think that's like reasonably priced too.
Yeah,
Like you might have to go in April,
right.
but it's
We're
pretty
not afraid
reasonable.
of
I'm not
an
afraid of
April
cold.
round.
Yeah, no.
I think the other option would be, we've talked a lot about different spots in Michigan.
Yeah,
I need to look
The
more
Loop.
into,
like northwest Michigan.
Grand Rapids, I believe, has some pretty
Northwest
interesting
Michigan.
spots.
Yep.
So I think probably either Michigan or Carolina are the two that I think are like the good combination of like doable and like really good golf.
And driving distance, like
Driving
not,
distance,
you know,
not like, yeah.
you could go on a plane if you really wanted to, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Like probably, I don't. North Carolina's probably what 7-hour drive for us.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is specifically.
Grand
like
Rapids is probably 5.5.
5.5, 6, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, man, Michigan in general, like for obvious reasons, don't like that state. But I did a lot of golfing in Michigan for college, and holy crap, am I so thankful that I got to play some of the course. Like, you just like drive 5 miles, like you get on like the Lake Michigan coast. There are just like so many good golf courses over there. And you get up by Grand Rapids and you get up by like, the Mackinac Bridge and stuff like heck, you could even go into Upper Peninsula, and like Upper Peninsula has one of the courses I say is one of the top 5 courses I've ever played. Ever. So super, super, super good courses up there. Obviously everybody's well documented. North Carolina. Excellent courses. Yeah. I didn't think about North Carolina when I was thinking of this question. I did think of Michigan because I was like the Loop, Arcadia Bluffs. There's a really good course up there called Eagle Eye. It's right on like just off of Lake Michigan. Mm-hmm. I played that in college.
Your favorite place, Gray Walls.
Well, that's what I was saying. Upper Peninsula, yeah. That's Gray Walls is, man. If you guys ever get the chance to just like get in a car, drive, I think it's like 16 hours from here.
Yeah.
Marquette, Michigan, Gray Walls. You will not be disappointed, like, at all. You got views of the Lake Superior. I've seen a bear and a wolf on that course. Like, it's just absolutely, like, peak golf. Like, peak American golf, right? Especially, like, not Southern golf. Like, we're talking, like, Midwest, Northern golf. But I thought of Michigan. Like, I was thinking the Loop, Arcadia Bluffs, Eagle Eye. Anything West Michigan, probably a really good trip. That would be just because you can kind of go to a lot of places within, say, 30, 45 minutes if you sat in a centralized location.
Right.
The other one was Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like Sand Valley. You got Whistling Straits, heck's got, and it's reasonable too. Like you can do a reasonable trip up there and play. You can play Whistling Straits, and I mean, heck, Whistling Straits it's probably the best course in that combination of courses up there for whistling, but they've got like 4 or 5 courses up there that you can stay in one of their properties, and they're all within a reasonable distance, and you can play some really, really good golf up there. That was my outside of Michigan. That was the one I was kind of thinking of. I'm like, there's just Wisconsin this time of year, beautiful. Like there's some hot days, but if you did a summer trip up there, Door County, if you like, we're going to take a day off from golf and like go relax, you go up to Door County right there. And I mean, the views are just off the charts. Water's super cold. I don't know if I'd get in the water. I mean, I guess you could if you really wanted to, but so much to do up there. Yeah. So that was kind of the trip that came to mind too. And like I said, it's reasonable, right? Like you don't have to, you're not dropping 10 grand to go up there, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you stayed up there for 2 weeks, you could and played all the courses up there, but that was the one that kind of came to mind, especially since I saw Sand Valley. I was like, God.
Yeah, just.
I think we need to plan one of those.
Yeah, sounds like we got some planning.
That was the biggest reason I wanted to throw this out. Like, Daniel doesn't listen to this podcast, but I'm planting the seed with Susie.
Love it.
She clearly listens because she texted me about our Patio Beers question last week, saying that I was wrong and I overruled her. I just sent overruled. That's all I sent. So,
God,
nothing else. Just you're overruled here. So, it wasn't Patio Beers. It was the fan question about how long you like what's the appropriate amount of time. She goes, you guys are not the people that should be answering that question. I was like, no, you're overruled.
Which the more I've thought about it, like it's just a really hard question to answer. I think I said 30, 45. I think I'm a liar.
I mean, based on last Wednesday alone, we're both liars. So
yeah, I saw a meme today actually that was like, something about how like a wife's like I'll be ready to go in 5 minutes is the same as a husband's I'll be home in 5 minutes. So time is relative on the patio. Let's put it that way.
My 5 minutes, you might as well chalk it up. It's probably about an hour and 20.
Yeah, that's you're notorious for that for sure.
All right, hit me with it.
So with the Swifties descending upon our city this week, Taylor Swift is in town. I was curious, what was your first concert?
Oh, this is so good. This is so good. And I'm so glad we got an explicit rating so I can actually explain my whole experience. And it's so funny because it came up. My grandma turned 80 this week. We had a birthday party for her. Sitting there talking to my uncle. And my oldest daughter's like, he's got a Kiss tattoo. She's like, oh my God, I love Kiss. And he was like, I know your dad told me like she legitimately loves Kiss. And I do too. I still listen to their music all the time. But Kiss was my first concert. Schottenstein Center. No, I saw him a year later at Schottenstein. This was at Riverbend. I remember we sat in the pavilion, like we weren't out on the lawn. Like my uncle, huge Kiss fan, does not sit in the lawn for Kiss. Like we sit in the pavilion. And just painted my face as Gene Simmons. Love Gene Simmons. I remember I was like 10. Maybe 9. Okay, maybe 9 or 10. I remember it was a weekday because I had to go to school the next day. Ooh. So I come home. Best part of the story. Look at my mom. I'm like, she's like, did you have fun? I'm like, oh, Mom, I had so much fun. I saw a pair of boobies too. And my mom's like, thanks. So like, looks at my like, thanks a lot. Like, but that, oh man, Kiss, Gene Simmons just brings back so many good memories. They put on such a good show. Their music's just like, they're not the loudest band in retrospect of like thinking like Metallica, but like their concerts legit are like the loudest concerts I've ever been to. And I've seen them 3 times. They're back on tour. I want to go see them again. They're good. I think they're coming to not Cincinnati, but they're not coming to Riverbend. I think they're going to Heritage Bank. So I don't know how I feel about taking a 9-year-old to a concert. At least she's a girl. Like she's like, oh, you know, like
I didn't know I was going to get the story of you becoming a man.
That all happened at a Kiss concert at Riverbend when I was like 10 years old. Oh, but it was fantastic. So awesome, man. I really do want to see them again because as much as they've had like 45 farewell tours, I mean they're just getting like Gene Simmons getting to the age like he's just not going to be able to do concerts anymore. Or have the will to do concerts. The guy's like a freaking millionaire over and over again. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was my first concert.
I don't have anything close to that in terms of a story. I didn't go to a concert until high school. I think this was like probably sophomore year of high school. My buddy Chris and I went to see Leonard Skinner at Riverbend. and the opener was Three Doors Down, which was actually the more of the reason we wanted to go. High school Mitch just loves some Three Doors Down, apparently.
I mean, they're not the worst band in the world.
I mean, it's totally like kind of not soulless. That's not the right word, but just like it's like candy rock, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very 90s-ish, too.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad first concert. I mean, Leonard Skinner there, you guys were probably the youngest people by like 40 years.
Oh, yeah. And I if I didn't know what weed was before that day, I learned what it was that day.
Oh, God, sure. At a Leonard Skinner concert?
On the lawn at a Skinner concert? Yeah.
You probably went home, you're like, Mom, Dad, like, smell like skunk all the time. Yeah. Like,
I'm really hungry.
Well, Riverbend doesn't have skunks, but yeah. Stop at White Castle's on the way home. Oh, God, side note, what was the best concert you've ever been to? Just to add on to this.
So I honestly haven't been to that many concerts in my life, but we had a run during college where we would go to Brad Paisley every year. And
I've heard he's a pretty good show.
That and like country concerts are just fun.
They are better. They are really good concerts.
But there was one year where Darius Rucker opened for him, and I love Darius.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know you and me, we're big Hootie guys.
Yeah.
So seeing Darius and doing the Brad Paisley thing with all of our friends was just like it's always a blast. I will say I did go to Lincoln Park one year, and they were really good.
Yeah, I think we both went to that, didn't we?
Maybe.
With Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like their festival or whatever. They were that was a concert I was going to because I'm like, I like Lincoln Park, but I'm not like a huge fan.
Right.
But the show turned out to be better than like what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But I also probably set like a really low bar because Ryan really likes Lincoln Park. So.
Sure. Obviously.
Mine was Van Halen, not even close.
Oh, I'm sure that was
like Eddie Van Halen just ripping on a guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, there was during this concert, he literally sat there and like ripped for like 30 minutes. And he was like, at this point, he was like 68 years old. He's just like up there shredding.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh man, eruption. Like he was just shredding. I was like, and well documented how big of a Van Halen fan I am. But that was by far the best concert. And I think like me, my mom and dad and my brother went. It was like literally just the four of us, like as grown-ups. Like I was out of college at this point. And we don't do stuff like that much anymore. And it was cool. I think that probably was part of it, but that was by far my favorite concert.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh,
sweet. I'm glad I asked that. That was a fantastic
good.
story.
Yeah, that was I saw my first pair of boobs at a Kiss concert.
And I don't even know how to end it from there. That's honestly, we should just shut it down. I will just one quick note. We talked about cooking in the merch kitchen. We have hats ordered. They're not the rope hats. We're going performance hats from Imperial with the much asked for 9 emblem.
Yes.
So we're finally getting logo branded hats, white and navy.
They're nice.
Yeah.
They're very nice.
I can't wait.
Hopefully awesome. They get here before the Barbasol.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, shout out to Kevin Roy, Jay Green's caddying for him still, and they just had their daughter.
Him and is it Annie Sabo?
Yeah.
For those Reds fans out there, that is Chris Sabo's daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out. Cool. They had a girl dads unite. So awesome. Congratulations to
I don't know. We'll have to ask Jay because I saw Jay post he was up at Detroit Country Club. I don't know if Kevin's still playing this week or not.
Hey, league night doesn't wait for babies. I feel like your job doesn't wait for babies.
You got to take advantage of the,
Yeah, because he doesn't get an elevated event, so like when he gets a start, like he kind of got to do the start, right? Yeah. Like he doesn't get in those elevated events, so
hopefully he gets some baby swag on the go. We see a W at the Barbasol.
Yeah, maybe I would love a W this week, even though we're not going to be there. But
sure,
but yeah, congratulations to him. That's awesome.
All right, we'll get out of here on that, and everybody have a great 4th of July weekend. We will be back next week. Until then.
We're going to do this right before 4th of July.
Yeah, we'll know the teams by then. It'll be great.
Oh, that will be good. That would be really
You'll be able to let me know if you pick me or not. No hard feelings.
You're trending. I like it.
We like it. All right, everybody. See you next time. Cheers.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six-Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six-Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week.
Cheers.